Now today we're here for the Dutch Grand Prix at Zandvoort in F1 Manager, but we have something important to address in this episode. Now then, as you guys know, for next season, my intention is to have Sebastian Vettel and Felipe Drugovich be my drivers. However, based off your feedback in recent episodes, it does sound like you're not totally on board with that. And I want to take some feedback from you guys. So in the comments down below, let me know what you want to see for 2023. Do you want to see Seb and Lance or Seb and Felipe Drugovich? Now, the reason I say this is because a lot of you guys have been saying that Felipe technically actually has worse potential for growth than Lance, which is true. Also, his stats right now are also worse than Lance, so we would be taking a step backwards in the short term. So, is it worth training Drugovich up for the entirety of 2023 and then bring him in 2024? So I want you guys to give me some feedback on that in the comments down below. So yeah, with that said, we're going to jump into today's episode. Leave it a like if you're going to enjoy, subscribe for more, and I'll see what the feedback is based off what you guys have to say regarding the driver lineup. So Lance Stroll might be saved by you guys if you want him to stick around. To be fair, the more I think about it, the more it makes more sense in a way, and I'm not totally against it. So we might be seeing Seb and Lance, the dream team, stick around for one more year. Either way, we need to get round to that quick because Lance's contract runs out in 3 months' time. Now then, Zandvoort this weekend. It should suit our car. It's a better circuit for us. We've got a lot of things coming up in this episode after the race with the ATR period ending, and also we've got new regulations coming in, so we can start to work on more upgrades and see what this has to do with next season's car as well. So things are going to happen. For now though, let's get into the weekend's action and let's get underway. Now this weekend we have the usual incentives of qualifying in the top 15, also fastest lap and the finishing position streak 1 out of 4. These are just incentives, so no loss for us. However, we have guarantees, and this time we've got Q2 guaranteed with 1 car, finishing in the top 15 with 1 car as well, and qualifying position streak active once again. So let's get into it.
It's another historic weekend of Formula One here at Zandvoort. The track has seen many unforgettable moments, like Gilles Villeneuve's 3-wheeled lap at the 1979 Dutch Grand Prix, which cost him victory. What excitement lies ahead this year? There's never a dull moment at Circuit Zandvoort. It's fast, very fast, with long straights and wide curves. But it also features 2 heavy banked corners, where aerodynamic improvements are sure to help our drivers. This is it. We're down to the last few races of the season, and it's time for that final push. Who will be crowned champion at the end of it all? We'll find out soon enough. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Formula One.
Now with the driver lineup in mind, I'm going to just run Seb and Lance this weekend throughout the entirety of practice. We're using the older engine, of course, as we took an engine penalty in Spa, and yeah, we're going to get things underway, and I'm confident we should be able to get maximum points in practice.
I'm not happy with the car.
The car was good. Copy that.
Okay, early feedback then. So Lance not happy. 47% though, to be fair. It's just a bit less than Seb, who's on 59. So not a million miles away. Not a bad start. Let's crack on and make some more changes. Still got plenty of fuel in the tank, to be fair. Right, so this is the situation with Lance right now in terms of setup. Bad on oversteer, traction. They've got some pretty big changes. Straights are on great. I'm pretty confident this should hopefully land us in 90% plus if all goes well. Soft tyres for Lance on this run, and also a bit less fuel. This one's a bit of a lottery with Sebastian because the straights are bad, but it's right in the middle, so we're going to have to use FP1 and FP2 to find what side of this is going to be the best one. I think it's to the left. I think it's slightly to the right, but it's a guess. Okay, I'm happy with this. The setup kind of just fell into place quite easily, so this adds up. I've done the rear wing first, and everything else just fell into place, so I think this is going to work a lot better for us.
Car was great.
Copy that. How does it feel, Lance?
Yeah, good job with the car.
Right, so FP1 has finished. Sergio Perez with a grid penalty. Alonso as well. Anybody else? No, just those 2 for now, but still 2 penalties early on. P16 and 19 for us after FP1. Positive start, to be fair. Nothing too wrong with that. We're now going to go to FP2 and make some more adjustments. Okay, FP2 time. And for Sebastian, I'm going to make one small adjustment here with the toe out. I'm going to move it slightly to the left and see if that gives us optimal 100%. We're going to go for medium tyres and send it pretty much. Get the job done. Actually, we'll go for softs first for this one. We'll go softs for a change. We'll go mediums after and run to the end of the session. 18 laps of fuel. And we'll go energy conserve, or fuel conserve more like, on the engine. As for Lance, I feel like this could be the way to go. I'm not too sure if cornering is going to give us optimal. There's not a lot of adjustment there. I'm not sure that's enough of a tweak to give us a change, but everything else should hopefully give us an indication if we're going in the right direction or not. Same run plan for Lance, though, soft tyres and also energy saving on 18 laps.
Well done. Car was great. Yeah.
Okay, so not what I hoped for with that run. As for Lance, we did just get a 5 out of 5 and he's literally coming to the pit lane, so let's get the feedback. Right, with Lance, we went in the wrong direction, so as you can see, we was over here, it's gone to bad, so we flipped it. This should do the trick. Everything else is optimal, we've kept it all the same, so I'm confident this should be a 100% setup. We will go for a nice long run plan for this one to the end of the session. As for Seb, it's a little bit more of a risk as I'm moving the toe out quite a bit. So I've taken the cornering slightly out of optimal, but it gets the braking stability inside the bracket, which I believe is where optimal is going to be. So I think we should get 100 with both drivers. Worst ways, it's going to be like 99 with Seb, which is still fine.
Taking a look again, it involves Sebastian Vettel. Oh, they've lost it. They've locked up.
Small error there from Seb into the gravel.
What do you think?
Car was amazing.
Copy.
So you saw the feedback, 97% for both drivers. Verstappen still setting the pace. Further down though for us, Stroll and Seb split by 2,000th of a second, the only cars on medium, which is quite encouraging. So we're looking at maybe top 15 here with both drivers. If we're lucky, top 16 definitely. But let's see, FP3 time, we'll try and get that 100% on the setup, hopefully get it optimal.
Here we are, back for another day of Formula One action, where practice wraps up and qualifying unfolds. By the end of the day, we'll know who's leading at the front, who's packing out the midfield, and who's bringing up the rear. All 20 drivers competing will be pushing their cars to the limit, pushing themselves to the limit too. But if they can push beyond those limits, well, the very best find themselves mounting a challenge for the championship. You're going to want to join us for this, folks, so fasten your seatbelts.
Oh my god, a massive crash from Stroll. I think he's out of the session as well. I think it's terminal.
Oh, a nasty crash there.
That was a massive hit. Yeah, he's done. Lance is finished. Well, that's not ideal. That's going to be a big issue. Virtual safety car got Stroll out of FP3, so his running is going to be severely capped for the rest of the weekend. So he's going to be on the back foot. Oh my god, another one just in the background there. Right, this is it.
It's Pierre Gasly.
Lots of cars on this part of track. Oh my god, Gasly gets completely shunted in the rear.
Sebastian, any thoughts on setup options?
Right, Seb's happy. Optimal setup. So we're just going to leave him out there now until he gets 100% track acclimatization. So we've got a bit of fuel and tyres, so let's let him just drive the car a bit. A bunch of incidents happened in that session. There was 3 virtual safety cars. Verstappen quickest. Perez now has a grid penalty. Bottas has one. Alonso has one. And further down, Lance Stroll's in trouble with that crash. Seb P17 looking okay. We're going to go with one car this weekend. I think Stroll's going to be on the back foot. We'll see what happens. We'll never know if the adjustments I made to Lance's setup are going to be good or bad. We can always revert back to the old 97% setup, so we might have to do that, to be fair. Here's a recap, though, for practice. You can see Seb maxed out, Lance on the back foot massively. We're going to have to revert back to an old setup, I think, to get the performance bonus up a little bit. I think that's going to be the better option here. So as you can see, we don't know what this is going to be with Lance. We have very little data. I'm not going to take that risk, so we're going to revert back to the 97% setup, which will give him also better stats as a driver. So yeah, we're ready for qualifying. Both cars are going out on a 3-lap run for this first one, and then we'll send them out on single-lap flyers. Hopefully, traffic isn't much of an issue. Hopefully, the new patch has fixed that. It's time for qualifying. Right then, both cars out. Let's get to work, and let's see how this 3 flying lap run goes, and then we'll go for singles. You can see we've got a nice clear track currently on our first push. So this will give us a good indication as to where we are across the line. To be fair, Lance only a tenth and a bit, 2/10 under Seb, although the first lap is usually quite slow. We're 7/10 off Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari. We'll see what the second lap is. Second lap off to a decent start. Both cars on personal bests in both sectors. Let's see how much of an improvement it is. Seb finds very little time, so does Lance, to be fair. It's a minimal gain. Let's see if this final lap has any more pace in it. Right, personal best again in both sectors. 1 for both drivers. Sector 2, though, dropping off a little bit now. Tyres maybe starting to give up a bit. Is it an improvement? Just a slight one for Seb and also a slight one for Lance. But there we go. First run's done. Let's go for the singles now. I am slightly concerned. We're a bit off the pace, you know. I wonder if other teams are starting to, you know, do better with the upgrades and starting to pull back ahead, because we're dropping back, man. You know, not too long ago, we was the same pace as Ricciardo. Now we're half a second away. Anyway, let's send them out at the right time for the final runs here. Right, both of them are going out. We're going to have about 25 seconds buffer. I've probably sent this a bit too tight, actually. A bit tighter than I would have liked. It's hard to tell because the visibility is really poor here with the pit lane, so I couldn't really tell when everyone was out. But let's see. Okay, we're going to make it fine. Let's get into it then. So, we're going to go with Lance for this one, as usually he's the one that struggles to get through. Let's start the lap, and let's see how it goes. Down to turn 1. Come on, Lance, let's see what you've got for us, mate. Not the best practice, but I'm sure you can turn it around. We've got a crash, yellow flag. Is that going to affect our run? It's a Mercedes off. Don't know if that's going to cost Russell a Q2 injury, but you can see straight on, just like Seb in practice.
And a big off.
Luckily though, green flag now in that area. Checkered flag has now dropped. I'll say that. No, Russell's still sitting there, to be fair. Russell's still there. I don't think it's going to affect us though, the yellow flag, so we should be okay. Anyway, personal best from both of our boys. I wonder if, okay, Russell just rejoined, so it's going to go green just in time, I think. There we go. Sectors 2 are looking good. Latifi doesn't improve in P20. Albon improves but stays behind Stroll, only by 6 thousandths. Zhou gets out. Schumacher doesn't improve, so Schumacher's out. Here comes Sebastian Vettel then, first off. Across the line, what is our true pace? Not great. Both cars out in Q1. Oh my god, and we're out by 3/10. That's a shocker. I was a little bit worried. I said I could feel like we're lacking a bit of pace, and I do just wonder, we haven't brought upgrades in a while. We've been focused on the research for next season's car, and I feel like that has started to affect us a little bit. Yeah, this is a worry, man. Not ideal. Work to do. I think this is going to be a struggle. I don't even think points are possible, to be fair. We're a long way off, unless our race pace is a lot better. Stroll, to be fair, pretty quick to say he missed FP3. Reverting back on the old setup was the right thing to do. So let's see what we can do in the race. But this ain't looking great, Chief. Right, so no rain forecast in this race. I'm going to go straight down the middle. Medium to hard. It's strategy A. Seems to be the go-to. I think for us, the best thing we can do really is take no risks and just try to stay in the race. We'll gain a bit. We're starting 14th and 15th thanks to a few penalties, so we're a bit higher up. I'm just not confident in terms of what we can do, so we'll just go with the safe strategy. Tempted to underfuel a little bit, but we won't take those sort of risks just yet. For now, we'll see how that goes. We'll set them to... I go fuel push, overtake for the race start, and aggressive on both, and we'll see where that takes us.
Now we should have good weather for the race, and that will be welcome news for the teams. And there's Sebastian Vettel. With their starting position in the back 10, they'll have their work cut out for them. There's Lance Stroll, down the grid. They're starting in the bottom half of the grid today, so there's a lot of cars between them and the podium. The teams are ready to go. The drivers are ready, and the crowds are waiting. It's the Dutch Grand Prix. And it's lights out, and away we go.
Right then, underway for the Dutch Grand Prix. Stroll yet again off to a good start. He's side by side with Seb and is going to go around the outside of his own teammate. Seb though stays in front and holds on for now as we head into turns 3, 4, 5. Very tricky complex here. You can see both cars line astern, single file. Sebastian trying to get in on the action here as possible 3 wide, and actually, hold the phone a second. Sebastian Vettel with the double overtake. Go on, son.
That's it.
Okay, so he's got past one. The Joe has gotten back past, but that was phenomenal.
Aston Martin took a chance and it's paid off.
And now he's got past.
Let's have a look. Let's have a look here. This was the Aston Martin.
We have to look at this. Look at that from Sebastian Vettel. Double overtake. You'd love to see it.
And it takes a lot of skill to pull off a move like that.
Damn right.
That was a big moment.
Anyway, back to the live action. Seb up to P12, getting past Magnussen and Zhou. Looks like Seb could be looking to get past Ocon now. Stroll right now chilling behind Magnussen onto lap 2. Right, let's turn everything down out to standard modes as we settle into the race. Good lap 1 there from Sebastian. Now we're going to see what kind of pace we have with both cars. Keep an eye on the deltas important here. We're going to try and see if we can drop Albon out of DRS range. But hopefully we've got the pace to just hang in DRS. That's going to be the real key thing here this race. The DRS train is going to be everything. DRS enabled.
Push now.
Copy.
Seb dropping back a bit here. We need to push on a little bit. We're just lacking pace already.
You can use energy. Use energy. You can use energy.
The good thing,
Okay, copy.
Ricciardo has dropped out of DRS range from Perez. So we could see a breakaway. Tsunoda also dropping back from the top 5. So ideally, a nice little trend behind Ricciardo would be our best bet at this stage of the race, to be honest. Oh my god. We didn't need that at all. Let's try and push with Lance and latch on to Schumacher.
That was a position gained for Alfa Romeo.
Zhou gets by.
Okay, okay.
We're struggling for pace already, I can see it. We're terrible in the straights. I've just realised something. I forgot to change the power unit. Oh, I knew I was forgetting something and I couldn't remember what it was. That would explain the lack of pace in qualifying as well. I forgot to change the power unit. Massive mistake. Huge error. It's really bad. We're just bleeding time on the straights. It's painful to watch. We've got no chance today. No chance. I'm going to keep an eye and see how things go, but we're actually losing time in the DRS zones. It's working against us, which is really not ideal. Yeah, this is going to be a bad race for us. A write-off. I kind of wish I could just restart, but my autosave would mean doing practice again, which I don't have the time to do right now. And there we go, Seb now out of DRS range. We're battling Williamses here today with Lance. So, in a way, I feel better because it tells me our car isn't that bad. It's just that we're underpowered. And now for the first time, I'm getting to experience what it's like having no engine power or a worn engine. I mean, this is even a power circuit and we're on the back foot. So, at least I know my car isn't that bad, and you know we've got a better engine to run, which would help our pace quite a bit. In a bit of a way, it's a bit of a shame because I mean, looking at the gaps, you know, Ocon in P9. Meanwhile, Alonso making progress as he's now got past Gasly and Sebastian Vettel on the same lap.
Now watch this. Here's Alonso's car.
DRS overtake on the back straight down into the chicane hairpin. Easy as you like. So the Seb train is going to keep rolling. So there goes Gasly first, and then Magnussen follows around the outside, and then in a horsepower race, Sebastian now out of DRS range of the cars ahead. I tried to recharge some battery, and it backfired straight away. Lance, though,
Aston Martin have just gained a race position. Let's take a look at the replay. Now let's have a look. It's Lance Stroll.
in the battle of Canadians. Lance out on top. No DRS for him, though, for some reason, but goes through around the outside. Tidy move there from Sir Lancelot. We're going to try and harvest some battery with him, though. See if we can make it work.
Okay, here's the Ferrari.
Carlos Sainz, is it a spin? Just a little spin
That
there for
crash is
Carlos.
terrible news for the team.
Now, Mick Schumacher has pit, which is quite early, but we could see the start of the stops. Sainz still out there doing his thing, so no big damage for him. Right, so Seb's on his own right now. He's doing nothing this race, so I'm focused on Lance. We're going to try and get him to catch up to Albon here and try and latch on. We've got him in full push. Right, loads of cars in the pit lane this lap. So Bottas, Tsunoda, Alonso, Norris. All of these are soft runners, which I believe are one stopping onto the hard tile. Let's find out though what kind of rubber they go on to. Seb is going to move up to P12 because of it. Stroll is going to remain behind them though, which isn't ideal. Although Stroll now is within Albon's DRS range, so he's managed to catch up. I've now got him harvesting battery once again. Everyone onto the hard tire you can see, so they're going to go to the end of the race. So yeah, we're just going to go long and hope for VSC or something and see if we get lucky. As more cars are in this lap. Gasly pits. Once Magnussen comes in, that's going to be P10 for Sebastian. And then obviously a VSC would be Christmas, to be honest. He's going to get Lance on the back straight with DRS. Again, Lance for some reason opening his DRS. But he goes around the outside. Lance has battery now, so we can afford to keep him in neutral. Right, Ocon, Zhou, Magnussen, Ricciardo all in the pits. Seb now up into P7. Now this would be a perfect time for a safety car or VSC. This would be it. As you can see now, Seb being caught up by those who have stopped. So Tsunoda and Bottas on their way through. I will try and harvest some energy with Sebastian if I can, while these cars get by. There goes Tsunoda around the outside. Bottas back underneath though. Good racing from the AI. 3 wide. Down into Schreivlach. This is going to get ugly.
Only P8. P8.
Well, well, well. That is some fantastic racing right there.
You are joking.
Can't really fault it, to be fair. That was a lovely bit of racecraft. Alonso through.
Let's see what happened there. Okay, so there we have the Alpine.
And Norris and Ocon are about to follow as well. Alonso with a DRS pass. Norris down the inside into the banker. That's a nice move. That's a different move. And that's a fair move. We'll take him off harvest once Ocon gets by, which is going to be now. Let's see, side by side. Seb stays in front. Side by side still. Now Ocon though goes by. There we go. Zhou overtakes Sebastian. To be expected. More cars getting by. Ricciardo now will also get past. So will Gasly and Magnussen. They're all queuing up to get past Sebastian here. You can see it's all kicking off. We're going to bring Stroll in on lap 40. Seb will be on lap 41. Actually, let's just bring him in now. Why not? We'll bring him in now. We could go for softs, but I'm going to go for the hard tyre. I think it's a bit far to go for the soft tyre. I'd rather just go flat out on the hard. So, you know, we can keep it on aggressive the whole stint. And that will compensate a little bit for the engine wear. So we'll bring Lance in this lap. And then we'll bring Seb in on the next one.
Box.
Okay, I'm happy to box.
Ricciardo through. And Gasly Magnussen will follow.
McLaren with a great overtake.
There goes Pierre down the inside. And now Magnussen remains as Stroll comes into the pit lane for his one and only stop. Magnussen still behind as now Stroll into his pit box.
Regained a place.
Magnussen still not getting by, and that's now Stroll out and back into the action, but a lap down. We're now going to call Seb in for his stop. Could go one more to be fair, but let's just call it quits on this stint. So Stroll back, we'll leave him on aggressive for now. And Seb's going to pit. The question is, will Magnussen get by before he comes in? I don't think he will. And there we go, Sebastian into the pit lane. So hard tyres for the 4-time world champion, who of course is sticking around for a couple more seasons. Hard tyres on, and away he goes. There's Stroll making his way through the final few corners. Seb now a lap down as well as Verstappen goes by at turn 1. And that's that. We're now just going to race on, aggressive to the end of the race, and hope something happens down the line. If not, it's going to be P17 and P19 for us. Possibly P18. I mean, Stroll can obviously finish ahead of Albon quite easily, so we'll try and beat the Williams this race. I think Seb could actually race after Mick, especially now when Mick gets lapped. That could actually be quite beneficial for us, as there you go. Mick just lets Verstappen by. That's going to put Seb 1.3 adrift. I will just use a bit of deploy just to close the gap here with Sebastian and try to get within a second. And it's going to be Master versus Apprentice in this race. Now we have Lance behind Albon, ready to attack, and he's already going at it, although it backfired on that first attempt. Going to recharge the batteries on both cars just to make sure we're ready to go and fight before we really commit. Stroll still not quite able to get by. Also, Seb recharging battery should be at 100% very soon. I'm actually going to put him on neutral now, as he's looking to get by. So both our boys are busy, and here goes Lance down the inside. Right, this could be interesting. So Schumacher letting Perez by. That's going to put him on the back foot massively. Not sure if Schumacher's going to get DRS or not, to be fair. No, he doesn't. Here goes Sebastian, and this time he's through. There it is. Right, let's see where we end up in this race. I've got to say, Lance Stroll is absolutely flying at the moment. He's catching Seb and Mick, who, to be fair, are battling, but still, Stroll's putting work in. He was 9 seconds behind. He's now 5.5. He's following Sainz in DRS, and that's dragging him along. And actually, Mick is in for a second stop. So we'll finish P16, 17 ahead of both Williams and a Haas, which isn't too shabby. But I think this is the best we're going to hope for now this race, as we have both drivers flat out on push at the moment. Lance has a bit more fuel to burn, so we'll let him crack on with it. Minor gearbox wear for Sebastian. Again, we know that we're running the worn engine, so not ideal, putting a bit more wear onto our components than I would have liked. This is technically our practice power unit, but then again, it means we save a race worth of engine wear on our new one, so depends how you look at it. But this is a shame because we've thrown this one away. Like Monaco, we've thrown away a circuit that may potentially actually have helped us. At this rate, Stroll is going to catch Sebastian. Stroll has latched on completely onto the back of Sainz, and it's just taking DRS. He's been doing it for like 10 laps now, and he's just catching Seb easily. So Stroll putting in a shift after FP3. Fair play, son. You've found yourself a decent car to follow some DRS, and it's working out fine. So we're going to have both of our boys finish together on track and let them scrap it out for the final part of the race. So there we go. Sainz gets past Seb, so they're now going to be line and stone following one another. Anyway, with that said, we'll let them finish out the race. We've got a bit of fuel to burn as we're a lap down, so we'll let them crack on.
We're not okay on fuel.
Yeah.
Right, Seb's low on
We
fuel.
just had a crash on the track.
Ricciardo crash, wing damage.
Let's take a closer look. Now look at this. Daniel Ricciardo involved here.
Has he taken somebody with him, or has he hit the wall?
And there we see the crash.
Just the wall hit for Ricciardo. That will set him back. I don't know if it's going to help us out. He's taking a pretty slow stop here. Seb going through the final corner.
We need to charge it.
Copy.
Yeah, we're going to be behind Ricciardo, I think. Yeah, just behind. Shame we couldn't gain a place there, but still. These two battling away. Seb short on fuel. Lance still got a bit in the tank, so it's a full battle right now between both of our Aston Martin boys. Another crash. Yellow flag. Who is it? Safety car. Ooh,
Safety
hold the
car,
phone.
safety car. Keep the dot.
Why not? Let's just go for it. We've got nothing to lose.
No DRS.
May as well go for it. Let's turn everything off. Try to harvest a little bit. But we could have a chance here. We're a long way back. I mean, we're a lap down. But anyway, we'll see what happens. Right, they're both going to stack. Zhou's out. So it's a race ending crash. That's going to move us up a place.
We've had a crash.
Let's see.
Let's see what happened there. Let's take another look. There we have Zhou.
I think it's going to be the same as Stroll's crash in practice. And that's exactly what it is.
Collision there. That's very unfortunate.
If anything, even more spectacular. Anyway, into the pits, both drivers. We're going to have to stack them. It is what it is. We're going to lose to Schumacher probably. Right, come on then, boys. Nice, quick stack here. Seb out, Lance in like a production line. They both get serviced. And can we get them out ahead of Albon? Yeah, I think so. I think we'll be okay. Ahead of Albon, by the looks of it. There's Albon now. Yeah, we're ahead. Lovely. Right, so safety car. We can leave them in low modes, harvest modes, as we have to catch up. So we can afford to save. I don't think we're going to get racing action, to be fair, but I thought it was worth a gamble in case we get one racing lap. Okay, so we are going to get a lap Fair enough. Don't know what we're going to do here. We're too far back. But anyway, we'll just go full push. We might get a fastest lap. You can see the race is getting underway. We've had a spin for Perez, who's had a moment. Anyway, back underway, out front.
There is no overtaking until the control line. There'll be 2 laps with no DRS.
There are some lap cars in there as well. So they're going to get back underway as they start the last lap of the race.
We're good to push straight away.
Yeah.
We're looking at a fastest lap.
Use everything from the tyres, use everything.
That's the best we can hope for. I've just realised that Perez spin has actually triggered a VSC. So, what's the point?
So
Let's just finish the race.
Copy.
Yeah, literally, as a safety car was going to come in, we've had a VSC due to Perez, which I've never seen before, so news to me. Anyway, we're going to have to forget about this race and move on to the next one as we finish P16, P17, and another disappointing one.
Over the finish line and today's winner.
Not ideal.
Checkered flag, checkered flag.
Another disappointing race.
Sorry, guys.
Tough day. Take all the pickup you can, all the pickup you can.
Now then, the results to the Dutch Grand Prix, a race to forget, unfortunately. Verstappen wins ahead of Hamilton and Russell, so both Mercedes on the podium. Leclerc only P4 ahead of Sainz, Perez P6 with that late race spin. Everybody else a lap down, so the big boys stretching their muscles here today at Zandvoort. We finish in P16 and P17. A race to forget. It is what it is. Not terrible, considering the lack of engine power. We were still fighting Mick Schumacher, for a raw pace. Comfortably ahead of the Williams cars as well, but we can't afford to have that mistake again. Luckily, it's Monza next, which isn't ideal, but after that it's Singapore, so we're going to get another chance. And to be fair, I'll say this was a good chance for us. Singapore may be our best chance this season to bag a strong finish, so I'm actually going to invest in an upgrade for that race as well, so let's look into it. Before that though, standings, nothing changes. Tsunoda gains a couple more points, but he's still behind Sebastian. You can see Stroll still P14. In the Constructors, again, we're still chilling, but Alfa Romeo and AlphaTauri do gain even more points. So I think P7 at this stage is realistically where we're going to finish. Anyway, bonuses. Both drivers over 1,000, and then hopefully Dragovic will also bag a few points. Stroll with a development point as well, which is good. But there's your lot. Let's move into the next one. You can see the potential, by the way. Dragovic 1.85, Stroll 1.7, so it's not terrible. We'll see how that goes. We'll keep an eye on things. Either way, there's the updates. As for the payouts, we messed up in qualifying, so the guarantee's gone down the toilet, but everything else has gone well. So manufacturing for the spare front wing complete, which is good because we wrecked another one with Lance this weekend, which isn't ideal. Development point to spend, which we will go ahead and use. We'll go on braking as well. We're starting to finally round this up a little bit now, which is good, which is encouraging. But yeah, we have an email which requires a response. We've got a lot of things to get through here. So, first of all, post-race debrief. Braking performance on Stroll could be improved, which we've already done. High-speed cornering of car 1 could be better, which is, of course, Seb's car, but we know about that as well. Medium and high-speed cornering. A difficult race. The board are not happy. That's 2 in a row now. The board are not happy with, which is a bit of a shame. We'll quickly go for an update and see what their confidence is. Still high, still happy, so it hasn't taken a massive hit. You can see the last couple of races, it's satisfied, but it's not really enough. We've had a good run of races here, which, I want to try and get back to if I can. Anyway, that aside, back to the emails. Review of the race, not really too important. ATR period starts now, which is good. I'm going to split this 50-50. I'm going to go for 1 upgrade and 1 research for next season. Gearbox, poor condition, we know about that, as of course we ran the wrong components for the race. Spare front wing, manufactured with the, of course, the same values, but it gives us a few more spares to burn up. And then regulation change, financial changes. Let's have a look at these. So they want to reduce the cost cap by 5 mil. And you know what? I think I agree to this. Why not? Yeah. I like the change. I'm a fan of this. I think it's going to make things more interesting. We've got cash to burn. We're quite good with our money, to be fair. So I'd like to see others suffer a bit more because we do a good job of managing our finances. Okay, so here we are at Monza for the next race. And I want to try and work on some updates, but we need to wait until this race finishes. If you look at the calendar here, the ATR period 4 has ended and period 5 has just started, to be fair. So we could actually work on some upgrades now. I thought it was starting next Monday, but it starts now. So we're going to put an upgrade on that before we end the episode, and that should arrive before Singapore in a few weeks' time. So let's actually get to this now before we wrap up the episode. Now, just a quick reminder, for next season, there's no change to the chassis or the side pods. So those upgrades will be valid for next season's car. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to work on either a new chassis or a new side pod. I think I'm leaning towards a chassis, to be fair. I think that's going to be the key structure of the car. Now, I'm going to keep the same structure going, which is 50-50. We're going to use half of our CFD and wind tunnel on this upgrade. The other half will be used for a research project. The idea here is to obviously bring upgrades to the car. This is still technically working on next year's car as well. This is improving the current one, and that's going to be recycled with the chassis for next year. So we'll go for this. We are going to go for optimized aerodynamics for this one. It's going to affect the engine cooling a bit, but it's going to give us a lot less drag and better airflow. It's going to help us out a lot in cornering in dirty air. It's going to massively help us out in high-speed cornering by default, which is something that we need to improve on. So we're going to go for this. I'm happy with this. I'm going to go for this new feature, which is intense. I want this upgrade on ASAP. I'll pay whatever it takes. So we're going to get this on as fast as possible. So let's go for it. As you can see here, 25 days. Could be on before the next race, I think. I'll double check now. Let's research now for next season. Now we're going to research the suspension. We've also got to do the rear wing, which we'll do after this, once we go into the next ATR period. So we'll spend the rest of our wind tunnel and, as you can see, testing time on this to try and improve the suspension on the car for next season. Okay, so as far as I understand it, we're going to max this all out because there's more benefit to it and there's no downside as far as I can see, and it's for next season. So we want to find a way to maximize all of this, so we're going to just max it all out and see what happens. So we're going to confirm this, and this will be the suspension for next season's car. We will get all 5 of our engineers, and we'll confirm this will take place and hopefully get it done. So the chassis is not going to arrive in time. It's going to be just after Singapore. So we'll hopefully have the new chassis on for both cars. I think if we rush it for Japan, if we're lucky, it's going to be close. So we're going to have to maybe rush or even go for emergency to get them on. But yeah, luckily Singapore is a better track for us. We're going to have to get through Monza though in Singapore with the same car we have now. But we'll see how it goes. Either way, Italy's going to be interesting with, of course, a fresher engine. That's going to help us out. But I'm putting my chips on Singapore. That could be our last big points finish this season, to be honest, if I'm being realistic. Either way, guys, that's going to be it for this one. And we're back next time for the Italian Grand Prix. If you enjoyed it, leave a like and subscribe for more. And let's try and smash over 750 likes. As always, a big shout out to the members for supporting the content. Finally, check out the 2 videos on screen if you haven't seen them already. And I'll see you guys in my next one. Until then, take care and let's goodbye from me.